I'm so excited that you've taken time out to tune in to the Ella Johnson Show. I hope that you enjoy the broadcast. I hope you'll laugh. I hope you'll cry. But I hope that you'll be moved by what you hear. Well, my guests are very special to me, and so are you. So I want you to sit back, enjoy the show. What you can become depends on what you can overcome. Yes, I'm so excited about my children's book that's coming out, and I'm looking for some mahogany kids. I'll tell you about that later. And now it's time for the Ella Johnson Show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ella Johnson Show. Everybody is happy over here at the Ella Johnson Show, right? We have Propel with her purple hat and Sheila with all smiles. Listen, these ladies are survivors and they are here to tell their story. All week on the Ella Johnson Show, we've been hearing stories of survival, women and men who have survived and triumphed over domestic violence. Now, if you have been following me at any time, you know that the reason I do these shows is because my cousin was killed as a result of domestic violence. She didn't get a chance to tell her story. So I'm going to be a voice for her so that she can reach out to you and let you know that you have to get out before it's too late. And that's exactly what these women are going to tell you tonight. But I want to welcome you to the Ella Johnson Show. If you're watching from Facebook, I want to thank you. Share, just share your heart out. Okay, because we need people to watch this. This is very, very good and important information. If you're watching from YouTube, just subscribe to the channel, and I want you to also share. All right, welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Are you guys excited?
Yes,
I'm excited.
We have other people that may or may not come on, so we're gonna just talk a little bit, guys, before we get started and jump into the stories. Sheila, you are from where?
Indiana.
And Purple, you are where? Where are you coming from today?
I'm in Seattle, Washington.
Seattle. I already told her that she has to go ahead and pack up that purple hat. She has to go ahead and I gotta have it in my life, right? Listen, guys, tell me, what are you guys thinking about COVID? Have either one of you had COVID?
As a matter of fact, I found out today that I've been exposed, so I have to be tested tomorrow. And no, I've not been vaccinated. So yeah, I'm going tomorrow at noon to be tested for COVID.
Are you experiencing any symptoms though?
No, but because I had brain aneurysm surgery in May.
Aneurysm surgery?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they went through my veins in my arm and my leg and fixed an aneurysm in the center of my brain. So, but because of that, my doctor, even though I'm not having symptoms, and the exposure was actually Monday from my neighbor, she was like, nope, you're going to be tested. So I go tomorrow at noon.
But I mean, how are you feeling about what we're seeing in the news with everybody, all the unvaccinated people filling the hospitals, and they're turning people away in some of the hospitals in the country? And I'm in the retarded state where our governor is being totally retarded. Florida. Yeah. We call him Death Santis. We don't call him DeSantis. We call him Death Santis here, right? But
I'm on the edge about the vaccine. I'm afraid of it. And I'm kind of frightened of it because I'm afraid of the research not done yet. But in the same aspect, I know that the same neighbor who now is COVID positives, stepdaughter's husband was 29 years old, and he tested positive for COVID 6 days in. Um, he was quarantining at home, and her stepdaughter went to check on him. He seemed fine. She went to check on him a little while later because she hadn't really heard much movement from him. 29 years old, and he was dead in his bed. So he died. No underlying health condition, and they're assuming the new strain. 29 years old, and he died in his sleep at home. So that frightens me. I mean, that's scary to me. So now they both have it. So I'm going to be tested tomorrow. So
because at some point, Propel, they were saying that you can't if you don't have underlying issues, then you're probably okay. Now we're finding out that's not true.
True. Yeah.
Everything that we were told is not true, and I'm with you, Sheila, on that vaccine. I understand why you're going there. That's why I didn't have it, but now that I have COVID, I see things differently. Now that I had it, because it's no joke. Now, what were you going to say, Phil?
I would just say, I guess you and me being in media know how powerful the media is, and I would just say they can just say anything and people will believe it. So that's where I was with the whole COVID thing and whatever. I still have my reservations, but I also am an artist, and that requires me to be in different places sometimes, and so I felt like I needed to, go ahead and do, something to ensure also, I have my parents and, the job that I do, my day job, if you will. I come in contact with a lot of elderly people, and I have to look out for my clients. I work for Meals on Wheels. And so I just, I had to make a choice. So now I'm one shot in. So you can call me a traitor if you want, but you can call me alive
no,
too.
Absolutely not. It's a personal
Whoa,
choice.
I'm saying you could call me alive. And
that's right. Call
and
me
my
alive.
clients. But also I do believe in a higher power as well, and I know that he's got my back. So that's what my mother was telling me when I was like kind of like, I don't know. But my parents got it, and so I was like, okay, well, that's both of my genes there. I'm gonna see how it goes with them. And if they don't turn to a horse or something, like, because I'm just talking about this movie that I saw a while back. I can't remember the name, but the dude, he had sniffed something that his boss gave him, and then he started turning into a horse. I don't know. I just in the Tuskegee experiment, there's a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, that I was thinking about, and it makes you not trust.
Yeah,
and that's natural.
Well, I'm glad that you guys decided to come on to the show tonight, tell your stories. I know it's not easy, but I think the more you guys tell it, the easier it does get. But if you just tuned in, we are bringing true stories of survival on the Ella Johnson Show. These ladies and men have all agreed this week to tell their stories here to reach people that are in this. Because if you are suffering from domestic violence and you're trying to do it silently, it's time to make a plan to get out, because especially if you have children in your household that are watching this abuse, it is affecting them. They may not tell you, but it is affecting them. So we're gonna get started with you, Sheila, tonight, because you look like you're ready. I just want if I mess
Sheila
up and call you
E.
Sheila E. But you need that hat though. You need the purple hat.
Yeah.
You feel me? And you got the purple hair. Oh yeah,
Yes,
you're ready.
I know. I need that hat.
You are ready, baby girl.
She needs to at least tell us where she got the hat.
I know, right?
So I can buy one.
Oh, Amazon.
Yeah. Amazon.
But
Yeah,
I usually the Purple Store in Seattle, but you can go to thepurplestore.com.
There's a Purple Store in Seattle.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
know that.
On
Awesome.
Stewart and First.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to look for the Purple Store.
All right, guys. I want you to meet Sheila. Sheila is coming to us, like she said, from Kentucky. She's an accounting. Where?
I was born in Kentucky, but I'm in Indiana.
Indiana. She's in Indiana, but she was born in Kentucky. Okay. And she is an accounting specialist with USA Today. She's a domestic violence survivor and an advocate. And she's been on several board of directors doing what we're doing here tonight, helping people. It just kind of gets on you, right? When you
Yep.
just when something like this happens, the next natural thing to do is become an advocate and help other people. And
Yes.
you guys, you don't have to be abused to be an advocate. So we are all advocates, right? But
Absolutely.
I want to say something. At one point, Sheila heard her
Mhm.
husband say this, her abuser: "Is today a good day for us to die?" You'll hear
Yep.
about that in her story.
Yep.
Sheila, I want to tell you, I am
Yeah.
very proud of you. You've been
Thank you.
smiling since you came on this studio, on the scene here tonight. And with everything that you've been through, it would be hard for many people to smile, but you have found a way to have joy in spite of. And
Yep.
that's what you got to do. But I want you to talk to me a little bit about when you grew up and how things were as you grew up.
Well, I grew up in a household when my parents were married that wasn't particularly optimal. They didn't get along. Sometimes there was, it wasn't the best. So the two people together were toxic, and they did divorce when I was very young. And my dad remarried. He's been remarried to the same woman for 43 years now, and I've never seen anything bad in their marriage. And my mom remarried, and I never saw anything bad there. We moved a lot. My dad and my stepmom basically raised me, and I can see Tommy Dudley's comments. Hi, Tommy. I just love Tommy. He's a male
We
survivor.
all do.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's awesome. So I grew up. My dad was in the military, and then he was a pilot. So we moved around a lot. I've lived all over the U.S. I got married at a young age, had 3 children, divorced early at a young age. So my relationship statuses were not the best. I didn't make good choices early on, and continued to make bad choices.
What kind of men were you choosing?
Men that were typically pretty controlling and jealous and insecure. And I didn't see that as bad choices because no one ever taught me about red flags,
Right.
and what to look for in a partner and to set my boundaries with people. I didn't learn those lessons until I was in my 40s, which is unfortunate. I was in a marriage to a Marine. I was married to a Marine. We were together 15 years, married 12. I don't have anything bad to say about him. Our marriage fell apart, and it was right at the time I had lost my mom to cancer. And we all know that when you have, yeah, thank you. She was one, it was very traumatic. That's when I met the real abuser. I was weak. He found
we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. Let's talk about the abuser.
Yes.
When you met him, how did you guys meet? And please don't tell me a bus, a bike, or any of those 3, or I'm going to scream.
Okay, well, no, actually, it's worse than that.
No.
It's worse. So I used to work for the Department of Corrections. I worked in a men's facility, medium security. And originally, when I met my abuser, he was an inmate. And so, no, I didn't touch him. No, there was none of that while he was incarcerated. 0. But I ran into him after he was released. I knew what he was in there for. It wasn't anything violent. He had some issues with substance abuse, and he was never disrespectful to me when he was in there. So it was nothing. And I ran into him in a mall shopping. And at first declined.
That's not a bad thing. At least he has money.
But people they're like, "Oh my goodness, you supervised him in prison." Yes, I did. But no, I didn't have anything to do with him while he was there. So that is, I knew who he was and I knew what he was.
So how did he approach you when you saw him in the mall?
He had his little boy with him, and he said, "Hey, this is," he said, "Hey, Miss Chandler, you remember me?" And I'm like, yes, I remember you. And he introduced me to his youngest son and said, "This is one of the officers from the prison. She was very nice to me, blah, blah, blah." And I ended up running into him again a couple weeks later when I was out with a group of friends, and he sent a drink to my table. And that's how the whole thing got started. So
he sent a drink to your table?
Yeah, 2 weeks later.
Oh, okay. 2 weeks later. Yeah. So then how did you guys decide you wanted to be in a relationship? How did that happen?
We talked, and I ended up going out with him on a date, and he seemed very charming.
Date. How was that?
It was nice. He was very charming. He was 11 years younger than me. Very nice looking.
Am
Yes,
I
he was.
talking to a cougar?
Woo!
I didn't even know
Girl,
what cougar
you
meant.
are my hero.
So one of my friends called me a cougar, and I was like, "What does she mean by that?" I had to look it up. I didn't know what a cougar was. I had no clue. But
Okay, so you guys are he's 11 years younger. You decide, okay, we're going to be a couple. And
yep.
then what?
So we ended up moving in together, and everything was fine at first. I mean, I noticed he was sometimes a little jealous, but I almost thought it was cute. Um,
So you
when,
noticed that before you moved in with him that he was a little jealous, but you were like,
yeah,
"Ah, it'll go
yeah,
away. It's no big
yeah,
deal."
yeah, no
Yeah.
big deal. But once we moved in together, after we got, and then when we got married, I started seeing a side to him that I hadn't seen before. The jealousy was a little more extreme. Um, Things escalated, but I made excuses for it in my head. I tried to make excuses for the things that I saw that were wrong.
Tell me about the first time you noticed it, because you're living together, you guys are eating together, you're having a regular relationship, and then one day you saw it. I want to know that first time, because then we're going to carry it through the timeline of the next time. So tell me about that first time.
Uh, I guess really the first real incident that sticks out in my mind that I thought he was over the top jealous. We had a next door neighbor that was an older gentleman. I mean, much older. He was like in his 70s, and he was always talking to me, and he got like over the top jealous over it. I think he's trying to think he wants to get in your pants, and you shouldn't be talking to him. I'm like, he's like almost 80 years old. Are you serious? Like, and you shouldn't be talking to him. Stop speaking to him. You're encouraging him. I'm like, encouraging him to what? I mean, he literally, I would go help this old man sometime clean his house for him. He was so old, and I was encouraging him because he wanted to sleep with me, and I was encouraging it. I was flirting with him by helping the elderly next door neighbor. And I'm like, do you see how ridiculous you sound?
But did you decide did you decide to do what he asked you to do?
Yeah, so I stopped helping him because I was like,
Stop
if it
talking to
really
him.
bothers you that much, then okay,
Oh,
but you sound ridiculous. I would never think you're trying to sleep with, an 80-year-old woman. And if you are, there's something wrong with you.
Right, right.
But I thought, okay, if he
So
really feels
to keep peace
yeah,
in the house, you stop
yes,
talking.
let it go.
So
Yes.
what's the next incident you had with him?
And well, then the next thing was a friend of mine, it was a girlfriend of mine. She doesn't like me because she didn't like him. She really didn't. So it doesn't matter whether or not she likes you. I'm with you. You're my husband, and she's my friend. So you two got to learn to get along. No, 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 no. I mean, it was, if you're friends with her, then you must not love me. Because if she doesn't like me, you can't keep her as a friend. But she saw what I wasn't seeing yet, and she was pointing it out to me. Boom. She just kept pointing it out. And he knew he had to get her away from me. So he kept on me and kept on me and kept on me until I stopped talking to her. Because
And this is someone that you knew, and you convinced him to stop talking to someone you knew. So he's starting to isolate. He's starting to isolate you. Okay.
Yes. Oh,
Were
yeah,
you recognizing that, or you still thought it was cute?
No, at this point, I'm like, okay, this is starting to get, it's annoying, but, starting to get on my nerves. But this is my husband.
Okay.
I want my marriage to work. I've kind of cornered myself now. I've married a man that most people thought was not a good idea, but oh God, I had to.
Now, what marriage was this? What number marriage was this?
Third.
Third. Okay.
Yeah.
No judgment here, sweetie. No judgment here.
Okay.
So,
I knew, part of me knew I'd made a mistake.
But you were too far in now. You were too invested.
Yeah. I was going to make it work. Wasn't going to fail again.
Third time's a charm, you were thinking? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was awful.
All right. So here we are. Now he's being a little jealous. Now, at some point, it gets physical. What was the first time he got physical? And describe it. Don't go too far with it. As far as like going way on. I want to know that first time, because I want to know what you were thinking, what you were seeing, and how you were feeling. Tell us about the first time.
The first time, and to be completely honest, I can't even remember what he got angry over. I really don't. I don't remember what he got angry over because I was too shocked that he put his hands on me. Never had that happen, really.
Right.
But he got me down on the floor. So he didn't punch me. And I kept telling myself afterwards, he didn't punch me. He didn't slap me. He didn't hit me. but he pinned my arms down and he just kept headbutting my chest over and over and over again. So I was black and blue from here to my stomach. I mean, for hours.
And what was he saying to you as he's doing this?
Well, he was headbutting my chest and kept threatening to headbutt my face, telling me he was going to split my face open. And I don't even remember why he was mad, because it didn't matter at that point. What I had said or done didn't matter. But he was mad, and I really don't remember why. Just that he kept, it was for a long time. And then he left. He was gone for 2 days. And he came back and apologized and cried. And of course, I bought it hook, line, and sinker, because what do you say if you've never? I always told people, let a man, let them put their hands on me. He better not go to sleep. He better not go to sleep.
Yeah, we all say that until we're in that situation. It's a little different.
That is not how I felt.
Now, when you got up, when he left and was gone those 2 days, you had some time to think, but you also had some time to look at yourself and you look at your body. When you saw those black and blue bruises, what was going through your head at that point?
I can't believe he did this. And really, I was like, what happened? I was trying to wrap my head around what had happened, that this man that was so kind and loving and so doting on me had went from this to Satan. What was going on, and what was I doing in this position? How did this happen, and how can I fix it? I got to fix this. I got to make everything okay. That's what I thought.
So when he came back in 2 days and he apologized, there was obviously a next time. What was the next time, and what did he
about
do?
6 months?
6 months.
About 6 months. And we had moved out into the middle of nowhere. So we were living out in the middle of nowhere, and we had gotten a dog, and the dog had an accident on the floor, and he was whipping the dog, and I didn't want him to whip the dog. And so I told him to stop. And because I told him to stop, he said that I could take the beating for the dog. And so instead of hitting the dog, he was hitting me. So I got between him and the dog, and I took the beating for the dog. So,
oh my gosh.
But
when you say beating, what was he doing to you?
I'm hitting me with an extension cord.
An extension cord. Where was he hitting you with the extension cord?
On my back and on my legs.
Did you have clothes on?
Yes.
That's good. Because then if you had been, oh, and you were obviously telling him to stop. He wasn't.
Yes. No.
Did he break the skin?
Yes.
So you were bleeding?
Yes.
Did you go to the hospital?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. Probably because I don't know. It wasn't
so you
that bad.
Took some of your stuff at home.
And when I got injured, I always thought, well, it's not that bad. I mean, he didn't hit me. That's how my mind was working. He just hit me with the extent. I just didn't want the dog to get hit, because the dog was screaming and yelping, and I just didn't want the dog to get hurt. So I figured it was better for me to get hurt than the dog. And of course, he apologized.
So he apologized again.
Oh yeah.
Now, at any point, tell me when you were thinking about leaving. Are we there yet?
No.
No, we're still not there. So here you're still trying. You wanted to work. This is a third marriage. He's not that bad. So you wanted to work. Tell me the next time.
Geez, the next time. Wow. There's so many next times that I can't even, I can tell you a million ones. I just don't know which one would be the next one. It escalated so badly the next few years that I know at one point in the last 6 months that I was with him, I kept a calendar. I used to put a check on it for the days that I didn't have an incident. And there were only 2 in 6 months. So in 6 months, there were only 2 days that he didn't put his hands on me. The last 6 months I was there. 2 days.
So you were being beaten every day except 2 days in an entire 6 months.
6 months. Yes.
So that's okay. Wait a minute, Sheila. Okay. I want to make sure we got this right.
Yes.
So that means that only 2 days in a 6 month time period, you were beaten by this man.
Now, when I say 2 days, rather I was choked, punched, hit, pushed that last 6 months every day, but 2 days. Yes. Yes.
That is so hard to believe. Did you call
It's
the cops?
I called 3 times from North Carolina for help.
Did he get arrested?
The last time, yes. The other 2 times, even though I was visibly injured, they left me there.
So they came. So you're telling me that the police during all this time so far, they came to your house twice.
Yes.
You called, and they
Yep.
saw you battered, bruised,
Yes.
bleeding, even.
Yep.
And they did not take him in.
No. As a matter of fact,
what did they say?
The incident at the end of May when the sheriff showed up. As a matter of fact, my lip was split, my nose was bleeding, my forehead on this side was out like this because he had punched me in my forehead. And the officer looked at me and said, I didn't see him do anything to you. And my daughter was actually at my home at the time. So she didn't see it happen, but she was there and she saw you could see the injuries on my face. And I said, well, you don't see women get raped, but when they tell you what happens, you go and arrest them, correct?
Right.
And he goes, I don't know what you expect me to do. I said, your job. And I started crying. I said, he's going to end up killing me. He's going to kill me. He's going to. And the guy said, I'm sorry. He goes, well, you'll have to go to the magistrate and take out your own charges. I said, I don't have my car. He took my car. He said, well, I guess I could drop you off there, but you'll have to walk back. I said, that's 15 miles. 15 miles. He said, what else do you want me to do? And he left me there. That was the same officer. He was the first one on the scene the last day when he did almost kill me. First one there the last time.
Okay. Oh my God. Purpell, you have to talk on this one. The police, because we're on here encouraging people to call the police, call the hotline. Don't just sit there and take it. And 2 nights in a row, we've heard people say, I did that, Ella, but they don't do anything. Please speak on it.
I mean, they they really don't. It's just a matter of, I mean, the only thing they can do is send you to, like, when that guy was stalking me in DC, all they can really do is just, I mean, call whoever, the domestic violence hotline, and point you to places. But they're like, I think I saw Tommy commented that they're not really trained for that, but they should be. And that, you know, they should be, because it affects men and women, and anything that's affecting anybody is affecting someone else. That's someone's mom, that's someone's dad, that's someone's uncle, that's someone's teacher, that's someone there, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, my experience has not been as severe, you know, with the police, but I know there was this one incident that was, you know, kind of, you know, a little bit more minor, but the officer after a while, after you heard my story, and I kind of, you know, I had filmed the guy because it was escalating, and I knew it was going to escalate more. And then he said that I was egging him on or something because I started filming.
Oh,
I'm like,
that's crazy.
But anyway, yeah, it's like they don't have the training, and it is left up to us. And like Sheila was saying, I mean, it's like they want to see some harm before they protect, when your job is to protect. It's
already too late at that point. Yeah. All right. So let's go back to you, Sheila. So, all right. So now at this point, you're like, I'm going to die. Did you ever say that out loud? I'm going to die here. Did you ever feel that?
Oh, I mean, some people know this, and I'm going to share it with you all because we're being open and honest. I mean, so yeah, there was a point where, I left. I mean, we all know that a lot of women leave and they go back. That's me. I did that. People ask me why I went back. I still to this day, I can't give you a rational explanation. I don't know. You get in that mindset where, you know, you are so mind controlled and otherwise by your abuser that you just make decisions that aren't rational. I mean, I today still can't explain to you why I went back. I mean, I look back now and I'm like, wow, boy, you really were in a mess. But so I knew in my hearts of hearts that he was going to end up killing me. I knew he was going to. So I had made a choice the one day. There was an incident that happened mean, he was beating me in front of his friends the one afternoon and then threw me out the back door, and it was hot and I was crying. And so I decided that I was like, you know what? He's going to end up killing me, and I want to go out on my own terms, not his. So I had access to some sleeping pills. So I took them and I went deep in the woods, and we lived way out in the middle of nowhere. And I thought, I'm just going to take all these sleeping pills and be done with this. At least he doesn't get to beat me to death or do whatever he wants to do to me. So I'm just going to go take these pills. And I was perfectly at peace with that. I went deep in the woods and I took every single one of them, and I laid back and I watched the clouds go by. And the next, I don't know what time it was, sometime during the night. I left to go in those woods at about 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I woke up sometime during the middle of the night with someone tapping me on the shoulder and telling me to get up. It was time to get moving. And it was my daughter, which was nowhere near me. And for I don't know how many hours, I was trying to get up and walk, and my legs would go out from underneath me. And some gentleman by the name of Terry Moore happened to come across me the next day, and he scooped me up and took me in his house and got me some water and asked me what had happened. And I told him, and he called for the sheriff's department, same county, and the sheriff's department picked me up and took me home to my
Now
abuser.
let me go back to when you said about your daughter. You said your
Yes.
daughter tapped on you, but she was nowhere near you.
Well, I think it was like I was hallucinating, but she was there with me, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. That was an angel. Yeah.
Yes, tell me to get up and keep moving.
Yeah, it was an angel.
Yes.
Because it wasn't your time. You realize that.
No, because I shouldn't be here. And I had thousands of fire ant bites all over my body. And I'm allergic to them. So take it for what you will. Because I was an atheist and I didn't believe in God when all this was going on. I was not, I want to say agnostic. I was not a fan of him at this point in my life.
Right.
And that happened. And the sheriff's department picked me up and they took me, guess where? Back home. So
did you tell them, I don't want to go back there?
yes, they took me back home. So I was back with him again, and within a few short weeks, with some stuff that was going on with him, because he was doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And it wasn't just, if you look up the word moron, I'm sure his name is in the definition in Webster's. So he knew that he was going to go to prison for some things. And he had decided that he was going to prison. And it was a very, I want to say surreal moment. People, when I say this, are like surreal. I was like, I knew this was it. He had taken me by my face and said, I love you. And I said, yes. And he had pulled out a knife that had a red handle, the serrated like hunting knives,
Right.
blade was about 6 inches long. And he placed it right here to my chest. And he said, when the police come to the door for me, and they are going to come for me, you can open the door. I'll let you. And I said, okay. He said, because I'm going to stab you in the heart in front of the police. That way they'll shoot and kill me. I'll make it quick, I promise. And I said, okay. He said, because I'm going to go to prison for the things I've done, and I'm not going to leave you out here. And I knew he was serious. So it was probably, I don't know how many hours later, my sister had called and demanded a well check. Anybody that knows my sister knows that when she gets on a roll, there's no stopping her. Within
Your
a few
family was
hours,
they were afraid for you at this point. They knew something wasn't right.
Yes.
So that's why she was calling, and they came. Yes. Yeah. All right.
And the
So go ahead.
sheriffs are banging on the doors and the windows, and literally the sheriff's banging on a window right behind my head. And we're both laying right there on the bed. And he said, you can go to the door if you want to. Is today a good day to die? And I said, not today. Not today. So I didn't get up and answer the door, because I knew if I did, that that day was going to be the day we both died. And luckily that Friday, which was July 4th, I got up to go to the bathroom, and he thought I was trying to get a hold of the police, which I wasn't. And all holy hell broke loose. And so
he's basically holding you at knife point at this point. So for 2 days, you're being held at knife point with the threat that you're going to die, and I am too. Okay, go ahead.
Yep. So that was started on a Wednesday. Friday morning, that's when everything really happened. So he got me down on the ground because I got the knife away from him. I honest to God, don't remember how. And he got his forearm right here, took his forearm, and he was a pretty good sized fella. He weighed about 240 and it was all muscle, and put it on my throat and was leaning in. And you ever seen Satan? I saw Satan that morning because he was just so angry, screaming and putting all his weight in. And he was punching, and I could literally hear my ribs breaking. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I got to get him off of me. And I'm frailing and kicking. I'm kicking holes in the sheetrock, trying to get him off of me. And I did get a good eye gouge in. And I finally got him off of me, and I got out of the house and I got to the car, and the car window was down. I got in the car and I was like, oh my God, I don't have the keys. So he came out the bedroom window, which is right in front of where the car was at, butt naked, out the window, and grabbed me out through the window and threw me down the hill and said, I'll be right back. I popped the hood, pulled the distributor wires off the car and tossed them. And I had a flip phone that a friend had
Now,
given me.
when he said, I'm coming back, what did you think he was going to get?
Oh, he was going to get that knife. He went back in the house. And so I went to the woodshed to get a phone I hid, and I went and hid and was able to call 911. And he got the distributor wires back on the car. It seemed like that quick. And I could see him going up and down the road with that knife looking for me while I was on the phone with 911. And the very first sheriff to get there was that same one that wouldn't help me the last time I called. He was the first one on scene.
Wow.
And they took me by ambulance to the hospital and put me in protective custody because he got away. I think they caught him like 9 days later in another county. But I mean, you would have never.
So when they came, were they ready to arrest him this time, or what did they say to you?
Well, when they got me loaded in the ambulance, he actually came back. So there were 5 sheriffs there in the ambulance, and they had our house set way off the road. Mm-hmm. And there was a lady that lived across the street where the mailboxes were. And she was an elderly woman. That's the only person I really ever saw. When I go check the mail, I would speak to her sometimes. And she was sitting on her front porch crying because she could see me. And he came back.
You were covered in blood, you said in your story. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was. I had it all over. And I wasn't sure if it was because I knew my ribs were broken and I had blood coming from my mouth, my nose. And I didn't know if it was because I'm thinking my lungs are punctured. And this poor little old woman, I felt so bad for her. She's sitting on her porch crying. And here he comes back in his car. And I was like, there he is. So 4 sheriffs left to go after him. And I told the one that stayed with me, you better call for backup. That's not enough. You're going to need more. And they needed more because he got away. They took me by ambulance. And then I've got all these sheriffs in there and the detective. And I remember looking at I hope they learned a lesson from this, but the detective looked at me. He said, you seem a little nervous. Are you on drugs? I said, no, I'm not. And yes, I'm a little nervous. Look at me. I was like, do you know what I've been through the last couple years, the last 24, 48, 72 hours? I said, take my hair, my blood, my urine, whatever you want to take and drug test me. Don't ever say that to me again. He says, has this happened before? I said, yes, sir, it has. He said, have you called the police? I said, yes. He goes, oh, you wouldn't press charges. I said, no, you all wouldn't. He said, you mean to tell me you've called for help and somebody refused to help you? Were you visibly injured? I said, yes, I was. And he said, they wouldn't help you. And I said, no, sir, they wouldn't. He said, do you remember who that officer was? I said, yes, it was that one right there. And I want him out of this room right now because he could have helped me weeks ago and it wouldn't have gotten bad and he wouldn't help me. Wow. So make him leave. And they made him leave the room.
Wow.
But
so at this point, now they finally got him.
Mm-hmm.
There's a trial. He's charged. What was he charged with?
He was charged with 3 felonies, 2 felony assaults on a female and a felony assault by strangulation. And on a plea agreement, because he broke into some places while he was fleeing from the police in the other counties and in the county where we lived at in North Carolina. So they gave him a plea agreement. If he pled guilty to the felony breaking and entering, that they would reduce the 3 felony charges for me to a misdemeanor. Yes, ma'am. So he ended up
trying to kill you. He was
Yeah.
literally. Oh
Hmm.
my God, I don't understand this. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah. So his charges, the 3 felonies,
Oh,
were consolidated to a misdemeanor. For all, he ended up with felonies in 3 different counties. And for all 3 counties, his total sentence was 7 years, 9 months, and 25 days. For he
wow.
had one felony charges in the county south of us, all the charges in our county and the county north of us. He ended up with 7 years, 9 months, and 25 days.
Wow.
So he was released March 14th, 2019. And I received a 1 year restraining order. And March 15th, 2019, when I woke up, I had 35 Facebook messages from him. So, yep. But I spend all my time when I'm not at work going and talking to other women. And people tell me I should like blur my face or hide my Facebook page. I'm not the least bit frightened of that man anymore. He is not getting 1 ounce of my power at all anymore. And I'm going
Good
to
for
talk to
you.
anybody that'll listen to me.
Good for
Anybody,
you.
anybody
Good for
that'll
you.
listen.
So he's out.
Oh, he has been for almost a little over 2 years now. Hmm.
And he has, and you're still getting messages.
Periodically, yeah. His
And how does
sister,
that,
a few weeks ago, she was just sharing pictures of me on Facebook. You know how Facebook notifies you?
yeah.
It notified me that somebody did I want to tag myself? And I'm like, I didn't know. I had to go block her. I'm like, why is she sharing pictures of him and I on her Facebook page? Come on.
Are you afraid he's going to come back and try to harm you?
No. I mean, if he wants to, more power to him. I've gotten a lot stronger in these few years.
Yes.
It would not be in his best interest.
Right about now, right?
Not a good idea.
Not a good idea. Well,
Not a
listen,
good idea.
guys, before we get to we're going to take a short break here and then we're going to come back. I think we have Carol in there and then we're going to hear Propel's story, but we are going to come back to you, Sheila. So I don't want you guys to go away because we want to find out where she is today and how she's doing. We know that she's a happy person, but I want to know what you were feeling, Sheila, because I want you to share some of that because we want to make sure that the people watching this broadcast don't feel alone. And that what Sheila and all of these women and men went through, it wasn't easy, but we want to
Mm-mm.
find out how she was able to get from that to this. Don't
Yep.
go anywhere. We'll be right back, guys.
Please tune in to hear our stories and my story and my journey of the pain, the passion, and now the purpose.
Our story of triumph. You may cry, you may be inspired, but we do hope that you leave empowered. Join us.
Wait to share on Ella's platform to tell my story. So get ready to be empowered.
Tune in to hear my story and how that pain is now my purpose. I'll see you there.
Prepare your hearts to hear some true stories, amazing stories that will inspire you, and some that will bring you to tears.
And we're back. We're back. Listen, if you are just tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show, well, guess what? This week on this show, we have been doing domestic violence stories, true stories of survival. Well, all of these women and men that have been on the broadcast so far this week, they all suffered from domestic violence, but they made it out, and they're here during this week to share their stories with you so that you all who are in this situation or you're just curious to hear about the stories will make a plan to get out. Now, joining us on the broadcast looks like Carolyn Peterson has joined us. Welcome, Carolyn.
Yeah. Hey,
Yes,
how are
we're
you?
so glad to. Yes, we're so glad to have you with us. But we just wrapped up Sheila's story, and because we really wanted, you ladies all have powerful stories, but we wanted to start with Sheila because she is my Sheila E for the night. There it is, Sheila.
Yeah.
She is my Sheila E for the evening. Yes, girl, can you play the drums? Can you play the drums?
I'm like coordinated, but yeah.
Oh, okay. I heard that. Well,
She
you know what?
coordinated the outfit.
I know we were gonna go to you, Purpell, but I definitely want to start with Carolyn, because I want to make sure that we get her story in tonight. Carolyn, welcome to the broadcast. Let me
Hey.
tell everybody she's over there in Alabama, from my home state. I love it.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
my
yeah.
sister. And her story tonight is going to bless your socks off because not everybody's story ends at just triumph. There's some people's story that ends in tragedy, and hers does. She is a survivor, she is an advocate for domestic violence abuse. At one point in her life, she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and could not walk. But you're going to get to hear how God healed her from that and just told her to get up and walk, but I'm gonna let her tell it, right? But she suffered some things that will bring you to tears because her ending wasn't quite so pleasant. So Carolyn, welcome. Oh, and she's also an author
Thank
of
you.
Smiling Through It All, and her book is going to be released next week on Amazon. Welcome to the Ella Johnson
Yeah.
Show, Carolyn.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone.
So we're gonna jump right into your story, Carolyn, because I want to make sure that we get it in. Um, Tell us about your family and your kids. How many kids do you have?
I had 3 kids, 2 boys and a daughter.
Okay. And when did you meet your abuser?
Um, I knew him growing up, so we got back, I guess, reconnected. And I was staying at my sister's house, and he was staying at his sister's house, but he didn't know exactly who I was as my sister. Who I was, my sister told me. She said, "Well, you know that's Carolyn." So that's when he wanted to come and see me and stuff. And I told him he could come back because I already knew who he was, but we had lost touch, from childhood. So, I knew him back long time ago. We all used to the different churches, and we would go to their church and sing, and they would come to our church and sing. So
So
it
you
wasn't
guys
like
knew
I
each
didn't know
other.
him.
You guys knew each other
Yeah,
growing up, so you decided, okay, this might be a good thing. I kind of know him already. So we hooked
yeah,
up. So you guys hooked up, you were married.
yeah.
And when was the
Mhm.
first time he hit you?
It was when we moved back to Troy. My aunt, the one that I stayed with, you know, my life, I stayed with my aunt, and she would die from cancer. So I was living in Florida. Me and him was married. So they contacted me and told me that she wanted me to come back and help see about her. And of course, I came back. I told them, you can stay in Florida. Going back, my aunt wants me to come and help see about her, and that's what I'm gonna do. So we packed up and we came back to Troy, and I see about her, and stuff. And she died at the hospital. But the first time that the abuse started was I think it was about 5 years. And
So 5 years in, that's the first time you experienced abuse from your
yeah,
husband.
hmm
Okay. What did he do to
yeah,
you?
it was really like probably like yelling and shouting. It wasn't anything physical at the time, but
So,
we would get mad and upset, and my sisters, we had stayed in one area. It was like we was in the corner. But I stayed on like my sister stayed in the house and my sister stayed in the house. And he didn't like me to go to stuff. And we both stayed in the house. And he was jealous. And he thought,
Hold on just a second, guys. I have to get off. Ay. I'm so sorry, guys. I had a little technical difficulty there. Oh my goodness. If I not had not gotten off, all of this would have gone away. I'm so sorry about that. I just had to get off. I have never done that on my show.
Welcome back. It's okay.
Yes, yes. Okay, Carolyn, let's pick up where we are. Are you still there, sweetie?
yeah, I'm still.
Because there's a horrible connection. So I want to make sure that we get your story in. So tell us again, when was the first time you experienced abuse?
We had been married 5 years, and he was very jealous, and he didn't really go to the house. So we still close to each other. And if I went to her house, was at her house, and all that, he was just jealous of me. So finally, when he found out I was pregnant, our first child, and he was born in 1995. They had been he had his son, and he named after him, except for the middle name, and the middle name was different. So we got had him, and everything was good. Then we had to move out the house that we was in and move to another place, and we moved closer over to where his parents stayed at. And about 2 years later, we had our second son when we stayed in the other house. But we didn't have any issues, no abuse or anything like that. Everything was good. And then we had to move again. So he had brought a mobile home for his sister, and we moved in it. And that's when we stayed in the mobile home. He was drinking. He loved to drink. He was alcoholic. But
so he was an alcoholic, and he came home, and yeah.
And drinking, and he kept his job. He's in construction work, and mobile already had a son. That's when everything started. The hits and the name calling, and more jealous, and more drinking.
So we're really having a hard time hearing you, Carolyn. And I really want to make sure that your story is told. So what we're gonna have to do is because it's a really poor connection, right, guys? Yeah, it's a poor connection. So I want you to come back tomorrow night so that we can tell your story.
Oh, the party night.
Yeah, come back tomorrow night and we'll get you first, okay? Because your story is too important not to tell it. So let's figure something out between today and tomorrow so we can hear you better, because it's breaking up really badly. Okay? All right, sweetie. Okay. We'll see you tomorrow, okay? Love you. All right.
Love you too.
Okay, guys, I hate that. Oh no, but it was just, bless her heart. So we'll definitely have to try to fix that for tomorrow night. But anyway, Sheila, so let's go ahead and finish you then before we go to Propel. We'll go ahead and finish you up. So now you have a trial. He's out and you're living there now. He's no longer a problem, but you seem so confident. You seem so okay. I want to know about the times when you weren't okay. Because I want to go back to some of your story. And when you decided to take those pills, what had you told yourself to make it okay?
that day, what was okay for me to take those pills, I was just tired. I mean, I was just tired, and I felt like I had no way out. I thought the only way out was that felt to me like the only option I had and the only control I had, because I really felt like I was going to end up dead. I felt like he was going to end up taking my life. And I felt like
But where was your family? Where was your family, Sheila? Where was your pastor? Well, you didn't believe it.
Yeah, I didn't have a pastor at that point.
Right. I remember you said you didn't believe in God. So
yeah,
okay.
and my family, I have my family, but and I'm not gonna put any of this on them, because my family tried to help me get out. They tried talking to me, but he had me so brainwashed and so under his spell. I don't know how to explain it, that they couldn't do anything to help me. The only person that could help me was me, and I didn't have enough power to do it at that point. I just didn't.
I have to say something, because I'm here. I have to say this because I'm
Yes.
hearing this.
Mhm.
You may not have cared about him, but he cared about you. And he
Who,
was
God?
with you. Yes.
Oh, yes.
He was
that.
with you
Yes.
every second of the way.
Yes.
Believe me, when you got strength to pull him off you, that was God. When that tap came on your shoulder in the woods, that was
Yep.
him intervening.
Oh, yes.
So
Yeah.
he was with you even when you didn't want him to be.
Oh, I told someone one time, so after all that happened, after July 4th, 2014, because when I'm sitting there hiding and I'm on the phone with 911 and I'm watching him look for me, and I'm like, okay, please, 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 God, if you're there, let the police find me before he does, because now he's really mad. I mean, I ripped the distributor wires off the car. He's really mad now. You got to find me before he does, or it's game over. And so I'm like bargaining with him. So when the police showed up, I'm like bargaining with him now. I'm like, I will go to church, I promise you. So, and I did the first Sunday I could. I went across the street from the domestic violence shelter to the church. And I walked in there on that Sunday, and not one person spoke to me. And I felt so out of place. So I come back to the shelter, and there was a lady there with her young child. And so I went that Sunday morning service at the church across the street, and she said, hey, do you want to go to my church with me this evening? First Sunday of the month, they do a cooking, and they bring all this food. And I'm like, that's kind of rude for me to show up for food, don't you think? She was like,
go, honey.
I've showed up to a bunch of those, especially when they're feeding Sonnies. Purpell, really? What?
So I went,
Baby.
and they had a small sermon, and it's this little bitty tiny church in Harris, North Carolina. And I walked in those front doors, and I've never felt more at home ever in my entire life.
Wow.
Everybody in that church, I felt at home. And I was there every single time they had the doors open while I was still in North Carolina. Sunday morning, Sunday evening, Wednesdays, if there was something going on at Riverside Baptist Church, I was there. And I got
What made you make this
baptized there.
change? What was the reason for this change?
You mean to that? I mean,
No,
because
the change as far as you went from not believing in God to now trying to hear a little something from him.
Because I believe that I'm still here. I mean, I should have been dead 100 times when I was with him. I mean, he put a gun to my head. There's countless times things could have gone really, really, really bad. I know that my domestic violence counselor that I had when I was in the shelter showed me, there's the cycle and the wheel, like basically where you're at on that when it's deadly. And she's like, you're way past that. You're way past that. She's like, your next step, your next step is death. That's it. Game over. And you've already been there several times and you've escaped it. And I got to thinking, I'm like, okay, so I'm not that strong. Why did I make it? One, I had a will to live, and I had somebody there's somebody there with me all that time in the woods. I mean, who else was there with me? I had someone tapping me on the shoulder, waking me up, and people are like, well, you were delusional. It woke me up. I wasn't just delusional. So even when I didn't believe in God, he believed in me.
Right.
So when I started going to church, and these people at this wonderful little church that didn't know anything about me, took me under their wing, and the pastor there, and I know right now his health isn't good, but I hope Pastor Ted and his wife are somehow watching this, and everybody at that church. You walk in that church, the first time I walked in there, you could just feel the family in that place.
Wow.
And I would have never made it without them.
That is true.
Yeah, I mean,
that is true. I can tell you, without him, you would not have made it.
No.
But he saw there was a greater purpose for your life, and you're doing it right now. You're doing it. So I'm just glad, because I love to hear when you said that your daughter tapped on you and your daughter was nowhere near. I'm like, whoa, that sounds like intervention right there, right? So I'm very happy for that. So I mean, how do you feel today? What would you say to the women that are watching this broadcast that are right in the middle where you were, where you kept going back, where you kept rationalizing with this man, where you kept making excuses? What do you say to those women? Because they're right where you were. So what would you say to them?
Oh, I have someone ask me how my brain operation.
Your brain operation?
Yeah.
She got all into those comments.
I know. I'm looking at them. I pulled one up. I didn't read it. I don't read a lot of them.
Yeah. Okay. So actually,
I was looking at her face.
It went fine. So I had a brain aneurysm surgery on May 17th at Cleveland Clinic, but it went great. So I have a coiling and a stent in my brain, and it went fabulous. To the women that are in the middle of that, get out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who this person is, but that's classic. Just get out. Yeah, get out. And do it as quickly as you can. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, when I first moved back here, it was horrible. I cried a lot. I was sad a lot. I was depressed a lot. I went through a lot of ups and downs. And I'm not going to say that every day I'm like a happy camper. I still have moments where I'm sad. You know, I still have those moments where, you know, I get uneasy about things. And that's never going to completely go away. I mean, you still have those moments. But there's light at the end of the tunnel. And it takes a lot of hard work. I mean, it does. It's not easy. I mean, I had to start over with nothing. We drove here, me, my daughter, and another young lady from the domestic violence shelter. We rented a car and drove to Indiana and then dropped the car off. So we rented a hotel and stayed in it, rent by the week. And trust me, it was one of those nasty hotels that you don't even want to rent for one night.
You mean the ones where you'd rather sleep in your car? Yeah.
Yeah. And we did that from May until October. We did what we had to do. At that point, I didn't know to reach out to get help from somebody else. I didn't know about that. I didn't have any idea that I could reach out to a local nonprofit and say, can you give us a hand? We didn't even have any idea about that.
Right.
So we just did what we had to do.
But you know, Sheila, you did something. I don't know how you knew to do this, but I thought it was brilliant. When you hid the phone in the garage, I mean, in the woodshed, I thought that was pretty brilliant, because had you not done that, you wouldn't have been able to call the police.
And it was actually one of his girlfriends that suggested I do it. And it was just one of those little Verizon flip phones. She suggested I do it because they had seen things, and she suggested I hide the flip phone.
And it still had power. That's another thing. That's amazing that you didn't pick the phone up and it was dead, right?
Was that to call or?
Yeah.
Was that to call or to film?
No, it only had, I mean, you could only call 911 from it. It didn't have service. And it only been in there a few days because they had been at the house. And in all honesty, it only been a few days. She was there with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend was good friends with him. And she had given me the phone, and we hid it in the woodshed.
Thank you, Philip. Philip said he reported that person. Thank you, Philip.
I don't even know who that person is, but I'm guessing.
That's not like the old folks would say. That ain't nothing but the devil.
Nothing but the devil.
Right? Girl,
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm definitely, I mean, if I
we're
would
not
be a
gonna let
betting,
him get the glory. No, ma'am. Forget it. It's
I'm
done.
betting, I'm
We're trying
betting,
to empower people and let people know that they're
I'm
more
betting,
important.
if I would be a betting person, I would bet it has something to do with him.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, I
Well,
wouldn't doubt.
he can be used. He can use, people, and the spirit can work through them. So I mean, I don't know.
who is Elaine Wilt? She says it's been 40 years for me and I still have flashbacks. Well, Elaine,
Oh,
listen,
no.
I hope that this show will
She's
definitely
fabulous.
start because I just want to pray for her peace. Lord, I
Elaine,
pray for Elaine's peace right now that you will overcome her and give her life more and more purpose so that she'll not only know who she is, but whose she is. That is done, Elaine. I pray that you receive it because you do not have to live in that regret and those flashbacks. You don't have to live in that. We want you to live in peace. All agree? Yes.
yes.
Amen.
All
So,
right. All right. Yeah, it's done, honey.
let me
It
tell you
looks
about
like.
Miss Elaine here.
Also now this person wants to talk about me? Really?
What?
Who?
What
I'm not
happened?
going to go there.
I can't see the comments.
Says I
I'm
look like
only
an
on.
accident gone wrong. Well, if you're going to talk to me, at least get your grammar correct. Okay? I will say
Just
that.
move past it.
Yes.
Just don't even.
So
Well, if
anyway,
correct grammar, I'm really going with that has to be associated with my ex.
it's
But
all
anyway,
good, man. It's all good. We're not going to give it any
we're
energy,
not even
right?
gonna, I'm gonna
No
ignore that.
energy. No
Let me tell you
energy.
something about Miss Elaine here. Miss Elaine actually used to work with me, and this woman right here has the best heart of anybody you'll know. So she handmade a quilt for the survivors retreat, made with love from a survivor to a survivor. Purple, it was beautiful. And the young lady that I was talking about with the that had the most heart wrenching story, that's who got that quilt. And I can't tell you how appreciative that young lady was. And when I picked it up from Elaine, we both cried over it. Elaine's amazing, and
Well, thank you,
thank,
Elaine.
thank you
So
for tuning in.
we're getting so into the night. So I definitely want to get started with you now. Um oh, is she frozen? Oh, okay.
No,
You're there,
okay.
Purpell? Because
Oh no,
I
yeah,
don't
I'm here, but Elaine is still her comment is still up there, and that's
you know
why I was
why?
wondering if people were frozen.
No, that was
Why?
on me there. All right,
Oh,
Purpell, let's tell everybody who you are because you're amazing. You're awesome.
oh
You're
yes.
wonderful. You are a graduate. Guys, I want you guys to meet the beautiful Purpell. I want to say something to Purpell. I see all the time you share the show. You've been here every night. You've been very um uh just involved with this week. And I just want to let you know that I appreciate it. All of you that shared, I appreciate it. But you went the extra. You and Sheila. Sheila did a live today to promote the
Sheila
show and
E.
everything.
It's Prince and
Yes.
Purple. No.
Yes. So I appreciate that. And I just want you to know that I noticed it. Okay.
All right,
So
all right.
let me tell you
I
guys
love
who
it.
Purpell is. She is a graduate, Howard University. She got a film degree. So that means she's probably going to be doing my movie for me. Yes.
Oh, I was gonna talk to you, but I didn't want to.
Well, girl, talk to me. Don't let the Lord you
Let the Lord
girl, let the
use
Lord
you.
use you.
Thank you, Lord.
Let him
No.
use you, honey. Let him take you where he wants you to go. Right? On May
Yes, yes.
19th, she has heard it's been deemed Purple Reels Day, Pop-Up Cinema Day by the mayor, Jenny Durkin. And it's because she's bringing unity through screening and discussing classic films. So she's doing good work in her area of expertise. I love it. She's in the second season of her show, Purple Reels is Watching.
Purple Reels is
Yes.
watching.
And she's currently working on a memoir, Dodging Bullets.
Woo!
Welcome to the Ella Johnson Show, Purpell.
Man, that's so funny because I have on my well, thank you. On my vision boards, I have the Ellen show. Not
Ellen
knowing that
Show.
don't take offense now.
Oh,
Maybe I
no.
had it wrong. Maybe I didn't hear it right. Maybe
That's all
God was
good.
saying the Ella Johnson show. But
Yes.
it's so funny that you do vision boards too, right? I know you do. You
Yes.
do like and
Yes.
it to see it like come to pass, like I was not even thinking about this freaking story. That was beyond, that was, you know what I'm saying? Because after that, right after that experience, the major one, the fire happened. So that kind of got burnt out of the, you know what I'm saying? Like, so to be able to have the opportunity to speak on it is like, wow, okay.
Because
Okay.
this is a good thing that you guys are doing. It's not only a God thing, it's a good thing. And I appreciate you guys because we're all in the business of helping other people. So this is just one way. Doesn't stop here, but this is just
Right,
one
right.
way. Yeah. But I want to dig into your story because your story is like different. It's like a la carte. Yours is because it's just like just pick one. That's what I saw when I was reading yours. I was like, oh, this is just she just got a whole bunch of little bitty stories all over the place. So I want to dig in because I like your
But
experiences. I
I
like
like
what you
how
have.
you have done the show. I watched it because I'm like, well, I don't know how this is gonna go. So I told you, I sent you the first thing, but then when I saw a couple of episodes, I was like, okay, well, you kind of, like with the movie and the characters, and this
Yeah.
is a good movie for me if I know the backstory of the main
Right.
character, but the
Yes.
backstory of those other supporting characters too, so you know their motivations and, oh, where's my professors right now? I need to tell them I got it, baby. Yeah. But now that's why I sent you the other one. So
Yeah.
I
It's
trust
it's
you with
all it's all
asking your
important.
questions and
Yeah.
whatever way you want to go, sister.
Well, let's talk about the guy you met on Tinder first.
The guy I met on Tinder, yes,
Yes,
that was
because
that was the
online
major one.
dating, all of the stories this week have been people they either know or they met them by traditional means in the store. I saw you, you're cute, but you actually took it a step further and was online dating, and you've been affected by that person. So tell us about this online dating.
Whew, boy. So now, okay, back then in DC, that was like 2017. So, still fairly recent, but now I will say that they have changed to where it's all about profiting, I guess, off of single people, which I don't agree with that. Like
So
you
you have
have
to
to
pay to
pay.
be on Tinder?
No, you can be on there, but in order for people to really see you and you to whatever see them, you're gonna have to pay. So I
Oh no, I'm
cancel
not going
that.
through that
I'm
much
not.
trouble. Oh no.
Yeah, I'm not
No,
with
baby. I
that.
need the
So, but
online dating that's free. I'm not
well, that
paying
would
to
be
meet a
plenty
guy.
of fish, and they need to be paying me now that I'm telling people. No, I'm just playing. But Tinder back then, 2017, you could meet legit people. I would say so. I was dealing with another person. He's an entertainer. I really love this person, so I'm not going to share any names, nothing like that. If you love somebody, you protect them and all that kind of bull.
But this guy was living with his was this the same guy that was living with his mom in a hotel?
Yes, the one that
Okay.
on Tinder. But I didn't
Yeah.
find that out till later. You know
Till
how they
later.
they
Don't tell you
reveal
everything.
stuff little by little.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's not like he was an intriguing guy to me. I like guys that are intelligent, intriguing, even if but we didn't meet on the bus, so
Well, you're
but
step up.
we might as well, because I mean there was no car. He had some dyke girl pick us up, driving us around, and then I'm sorry, I got back into my DC mode for all my Seattle folks that tuned in. Hey, you may not know the DC perp, but anyway, I got to go back into that mode to tell this story. So he was like, he wanted to go barbecuing one day. I'm just sharing this with you to show you the character of the person. That's all. And I'm like, okay, a barbecue, that's cool. So he has this girl pick him. I didn't know she was a girl until they they picked us up and I got in. They're talking and I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And so we go to the store. That's when I found out he wasn't a really nice guy. Gotta take a drink. Hold on. Tea.
Yeah, I know.
And she's parked, but it felt the energy, you know about energy. I feel that you know about energy,
Yes,
Ella
absolutely.
and
Yes.
Sheila, maybe you too. I felt like it was a danger kind of the energy was not good. We were parked by this grocery store, I forgot the name, DC and all that. It was down by the national the ballpark down there. And he comes out like running or whatever. I'm like, I didn't ask till we got to the Anacostia River or whatever they wanted to barbecue. He stole this stuff. He stole. He went in there with a bag and stole it. Like, I guess maybe it's because I'm a filmmaker. Like I don't like drama, but it seems like that it's always attracted to me. And I'm like, is this for me to change this into a story, or do I have to really experience this guy? Really? So he wanted to, we barbecued and blah blah blah. So anyway, after that I kind of just knew that this guy was kind of either he's weird or, but okay, the only reason I have to say this, the only reason I was dealing with this guy was because of the entertainer dude, which I was so in love with, but he had a girlfriend of 20 years and a baby, and a daughter or whatever, and I didn't know that. And then
So
so
we're
now
talking. Okay, so we moved into a different guy. So the entertainer guy is the one that had the girlfriend. So you
Mhm.
guys are done now. This is a new guy. This
Yeah,
guy
but I
here,
was I was saying that because this was the reason why I was even dealing with this guy on Tinder, was to try
because
to
he
get
hurt you.
away from him
Yeah,
and to kind
I
of shut
understand
that
that.
down.
Yeah, I hear
But
you.
then I open up into this new BS. I'm like,
To
oh
a
no, I could have
thief.
just stayed with. So one night, oh, do you want me to just go ahead and go into,
No, I
or
want
you
to. I want to
can?
get to the abuse because I want to
Okay,
get to the abuse. When did he turn violent on you?
okay. So he mentioned to me about, okay, that's the thing with me. Like I have a big heart, right? So he mentioned to me
Yeah,
about, like, you already know that about the mother situation. My
yeah.
mom, she's extra older than most moms. She had me later in life, and I think she might have been an Aquarius like me. So I'm thinking, and I'm just like, oh man. And then she later on in life had a kid, and that was him, and so I'm connecting in that way where I shouldn't be connecting in that. That's not my problem. She made that choice. She had him later in life. I don't have to take, this is the Propel Today 2021 speaking.
Right.
I don't have to take care of this dude because his mom had him later in life and now he has to do whatever. But back then, I don't know what was going
That
on.
was
I
your
was
heart.
really, so I helped, like, I'm saying I helped him because that one day he mentioned something about, oh yeah, they gotta pay or to stay another day, blah blah blah, at the hotel. So I think it's a replica of what I told you about my first or whatever, who I ended up having to bail out of jail. I didn't have to, but I did because I
So
felt
tell me
sorry for.
about tell us, okay, so you guys are you recognize now that he is probably very needy. So you become more than just a girlfriend to him. Now you become his provider. But at some point he turned violent. And that's the part I want to kind of get to. What
Okay,
what
so
made him tell me the day when he got violent with you?
he, it's funny because I lived on 206 Elm Street, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh wow.
So that was one of the things that happened there. He came over one day, we're talking or whatever, and I'm not really materialistic like that because
Right.
I've been through things and I like the simple things. So something I don't like how Sheila was saying, it's crazy how you don't even remember what the fucking argument was about. Excuse my language, but man, check your own self if you can't just hear a word and be okay. But ah something clicked in him, and it's like you can always see it in their eyes. And
Mm.
somehow he picked me up and threw me on the bed And I'm like, not even, it's like a shock that it's almost like you can't even explain. But I remember when I got to that prayer and I'm like, God, if you can just get me out of this one. Not like I wasn't going to church, but it's like I know the areas where, I can come up in. So I'm like, God, what's up here? I'm saying too, but it's not like, and God's like, it's
So
not like I chose
he
this
had
dude.
never done this before, right? This was the first time.
No, he
Right.
out of nowhere clicked. Like, I mean, we did have arguments or whatever, but it wasn't like that like where he clicked and out of nowhere this other person came.
Now, this is the
But
same guy you're paying for their hotel room. You're kind of like taking care of him in a way, and he picked you
well,
up.
I did it like the one time
Yeah.
because he said that but you know how people do, they'll say or make it seem
Right.
like it's
Right.
dire when you got however much money in the bank.
Yeah. So he's choking you, and then what happened?
He choked me and I was praying, and so it just reminds me of that similar situation I told you about, at Renton Transit Center with the do you mind if I go into that, or you have to, or I have
I
to
kind of want
like
to. I
stay
kind of want to
here?
stay with the abuse so we can get somewhere, because we're kind of getting into the night, and I want to make sure we hear your story. So tell
Yeah,
me a little
that
bit, because I want to go from the extreme, because what we're trying to do is show people how it's easy to go from one bad relationship to the next bad relationship and the next one, and it's just something we start to feel like it's something in us that's attracting all these guys. So I kind of want to get to the point so that we
that
can
is true.
drive it home. Yeah.
That is true
So
because,
after this guy, how did you guys end up being done with each other, or what happened?
well, I had to take it to the court
Oh wow.
because, yeah, he when he was doing all that, like, I remember my hand was swollen, like, and I was working at this movie theater at the time, so I couldn't not tell them because I had to go to be at these court dates and miss work, and that
Right.
was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And then I had to talk to the domestic
So what is
violence.
that? What makes us embarrassed? What makes us embarrassed at that point? It wasn't something you did. He did that.
No, it
So
wasn't,
why were
but
you
it's like the freaking looks that people give.
right?
There's nothing that you can do to make it. That, and then, like, I'm a freaking graduate of Howard University dealing with this kind of, like, that's why another reason why I didn't say anything. But I mean, the craziest part to me was this dude. Like, I already knew that he was. I tried to get the civil protection order. So then he's technically homeless because he's staying at that hotel, right? But he has other
Right.
different places that he's staying. So
Right.
then I had to thank God that I went through the domestic violence hotline, national domestic violence hotline, because then the lawyer that I got was able to get the people to do to serve the papers. This guy, okay, and then I had to go to a shelter while still trying to go to work and all this, and these women at the shelter were happy with being there, and I'm like, oh no, I can't let this kind of mentality seep into me. So I'm like, no, I'm telling the
What
lady
kind of
that works there,
mentality is being happy? Why did that make you feel some
no,
kind
I'm
of
not
way?
happy with that.
Right.
No,
Being in a
they're
shelter, right.
happy with being in a shelter. Somebody telling you where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to do. You got to come in,
Right.
put your freaking clothes in a dryer like you're some criminal or something, and get all whatever out. Now with the COVID, I'm telling you, it's worse because even when I came back here to Seattle after the fire, I don't want to get into all that, but that's the main reason I left Seattle, because of the fire. And anyway, I don't want to get into
So
that,
you're
but
right. So you're in the
my
shelter. So you got to how long were you there?
I talked to these women. I
Right.
was there for at least a week or two,
Right.
and these women are happy there. They're, oh yeah, I don't got to worry about a place to stay. I don't got to worry I'm like, no,
I
honey,
think some of
this is
that
not.
happy was because they weren't
This is
being
not.
beaten. You know?
No, 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 no,
You
no,
don't
no,
think
no,
so?
no. Because we talked about that. I've talked, like I'm telling you, I talked to these women. Like we went there. We know each other's story, but she
Right.
was just like, oh, you know what? I'm happy here. I don't want to. They were significantly older than me too, but I don't
Right.
have a
Right.
problem. I have older friends, and Asia.
Well,
It's that. That's not even
I
a.
really want to bring in, and I want to shine the light on this because I think this is very important because there are people like, I mean, you think about it, you have a degree from Howard University, and
Mhm.
I can imagine how you were feeling. But at the end of the day, you were in the same place these people were. And I think you used it to your good by being able to encourage them. The way you dealt with them, I think that was good. They needed someone like you because I think you
Oh
may have
yeah, we had great
good
conversations.
conversations. You
Yeah.
may have given them an idea to move along, but had you not accepted it and learned that, okay, I'm here too, let me make good on it. And you did, you chose to make good on it. So take me to the next one, the next guy. So you're in the shelter, you eventually get out. Tell me about the next one. I know you said he was very verbally and emotionally abusive, but tell us a
Oh,
little bit about him.
that was the entertainer, and boy, the thing that even got me there with this person is like my dad was a musician, my
Right.
mom and dad are artists. It was only it's so I don't. That's the thing. I what I would tell ladies is I don't beat up on myself about it anymore, but I used to. I'd be like,
Good.
like what the heck am I doing with this guy? Like so the thing is, I talked to him for like a year when I was living in Seattle. And I really just wanted to come on here really to clear my name too, because it's not even this. It's like, man, men will just say whatever to keep you when they know they have another situation going on. And that's fucked up,
So tell me
And
about
then,
that. Tell me about that. What are you talking about?
okay, so talking to me for a year, I'm here in Seattle, they're in DC, and then I moved back to DC for school or whatever. But I mean, maybe they may have thought it was for them, but for school. And then I found out, okay, I only knew that like the last show, how we were talking about patterns, right?
Right.
And so I recognized the patterns from this previous person who didn't let me know that they were married. I'm laughing because I can't believe it happened either.
So
But
how
you're
long
here,
were
you're
you in a
not.
relationship with that person before you found out he was married? And how did you find out he was married?
7 years, my sister. Yeah.
Oh
So,
no.
um, I, my sister, who rest in peace, she was the one that told me, because I was taking care of her, and then when she was dealing with her illness, and he would come and visit me or whatever, but she was like, there's something that's not right about him, and 7 years later, oh, by the way, perp, I'm a married man. After somebody's fallen in love,
Have
and
you
so
gotten
that
over
the
that? I don't think you've gotten over it.
but my thing is, you can't sit there and try to say something bad about a woman
Right.
after you have held that information from her, when basically that was a control thing, because I could have made different decisions if I had known certain things. But anyway, getting back to the verbal abuse, because people shy away from that, and I want to shine a light on that. Verbal abuse is really, like, even today, like I do my meditations, like I forgot the woman's name from Monday, but she was talking about affirmations. I do the affirmations. I chant.
Tina.
Yeah, it's Tina. Was
Mhm.
it Tina?
Yeah.
And I do
Yeah.
pray, and but you have to add on, not just prayer. It has to be more than
It's
that, because it was,
forgiveness. That is the
yeah,
part that you have to do. Because you can pray until you're blue in the face. If your heart doesn't change, you will never heal. You have to start from the inside. See, people want to
right,
do all this stuff on the outside. Well, I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to start going here. I'm going to start. Those are outside things, but you got to pick it apart on the inside. That's just like a woman that puts on makeup to try to look beautiful, but you don't
right,
take care of your skin. You can put all the makeup on you want, but if you don't have good skin care, then it's not going to look like it does on someone who does. you know. So
Right.
I think with this domestic violence and hurt, that is a very hurtful thing you went through, Purpell. I mean, because he lied to you, you wasted 7 years of your life on this man. You loved him, and I think you still love him, and I don't think you've gotten over it. Am I right?
Right.
Yeah, but that's okay, hun. That's okay. It's not one of those things where it's like you're bad or you made it, you fell in love with him. You can't help who you fall in love with. But I will
Well,
say
that's all
this.
I wanted to say.
But I will say this, unless you forgive him, you'll never get around the corner with it. And I know it's hard to forgive for something like that because he knew it.
Oh, very
Yeah,
hard
because
because
he knew it. Yeah.
the the thing is, even now, I mean, I don't know if you're talking about the married dude or the entertainer, but
I'm talking about the one that really hurt you.
I mean,
The married man really hurt you. And I think that what he did, it's going to affect all of your relationships from here on out until you forgive him. What is the hardest part about forgiving him?
that's a really man.
Is it because you're
Well,
embarrassed? Is it because you spent money on him? What is the part?
that's not the one I spent money on.
So
The
you didn't spend
first,
money on the entertainer.
no, not on the entertainer. No, it's just with that. It's just a matter of I don't like guys that are arrogant and think that they're entitled to certain things. Even my dad, who's a musician, doesn't act like that. And the verbal abuse. I'll tell you one thing. I saw him like fairly recently, and if you haven't seen someone for a long time, right, you're gonna be wondering, oh, you still feeling me, this and that. So that's why I was like, okay, so you're not feeling me anymore, kind of jokingly. And he's like, oh, I hate when you do that. You're so insecure. Why? I'm like, I'm not insecure. I just asked you a question. Like, constantly that kind of a thing, trying. And then the fact that I don't know, it's just my dad already had let me know, because he's a musician himself, how those type of guys are. But
Yeah. So do you think that what happened with this married guy is why you got into the next relationship and the next relationship with these guys that did not add value to your life? Do you think that
I
had
think
something to do with it?
actually, I think it had to do with the guy who cheated on me with 3 women, my first ever experience with being in a relationship.
So
Yeah,
he
but
cheated with
then
you with one
from
woman, and then 2 more women came after that.
no, the same time frame. I was at
Oh,
Howard.
wow.
I
Wow.
came back to visit, and then after that person, you know, I think that that's true. That sets the pace for whatever
Yes.
you're dealing with. Is that first person, whoever is that real kind of your
So how do we
first.
stop it? How do we change it? How do we turn this thing around for Purpell? What do we need to do? What does Purpell need to do to change this? Because this time next year, when we do another domestic violence week, you're going to have a totally different story. How are we going to get there?
Whew, how are we gonna get there? Well, right now I'm just concentrating on Purple Reels, like, which has been the saving grace of my
That's not
life,
going
I
to
would
heal you,
say.
though. That's just going to keep you busy. But you still got to come
And,
back to it.
and it does.
Yeah, it's going to still come back to you. So I think that the part that you don't want to realize that you have to do is you're going to have to find some kind of strength to muster up a way to say, I forgive him. Because let me tell you something, he has the control still. He still
Well,
has
even
your
if I
control.
say I forgive him, it
No, you
doesn't
got to
matter,
forgive him in your heart. You can tell me anything. You can say
Right, right.
anything out loud. Because at the end of the day, when you go home and you lay your head on your pillow, that hurt still is there. And
Oh
you
well,
have
I'll
to
tell you
find.
this. The same thing. Okay, when I mentioned that he was violent, he didn't believe it, because we had a 5-year hiatus. And then when I moved back here to Seattle after the fire, whatever, then I mentioned to him that yes, you were. abusive. Like when we went to when I came to this gig, it was his gig actually, but I went to see some jazz at the Triple Door. And then, he saw me looking there. They can't stand when you're out and you look great and you're not with them. I don't understand that, but I was fine by myself. I go out by myself all the time. Then after that, and he comes by, he's drunk or whatever, picks me up and what is it with guys about picking me up? But he picked me up and threw me on the freaking
It's like you're not a rag doll. So what did you do to whenever something happens to you, how did you respond back? How did you respond back to all of this stuff happening to you? The guy, people taking advantage of you because you have a heart of gold. And it seems like with Phil last night, just a heart of gold, and people were taking advantage of you. And you got to learn how to love you. You have to learn how to love you. You are very special to be the kind of person that puts everybody first. That's not normal. That's not something you see all the time. It's not typical. You are atypical and you have so much to offer. And I mean, with the guy in the hotel with his mother, you gave. With the guy who went in there and stole the groceries, you just looked over it. You wanted to find the good in everybody. That's a beautiful thing. But what do you do for you? How did you fight back and say, I'm tired of being treated this way? What did you do? I've heard about what they've done, but I want to hear what you did.
Well, it might make you laugh or it might make you cry, but I told him one day, okay, I will tell you, but you can't promise not to laugh because you're going to laugh. But I thought he was going to come, like we had an argument one day. I thought he was coming at me. And so I took his arms and, pushed him off of me. You know what I'm saying? But my strength, it's like, I didn't realize my own strength. But I'm like, he's like, why did I do that? I'm like, because I thought you were about to put your hands on me, and I'm not about to allow that to happen. So what I did, I told him to go back to his, wife or whatever. But I said it in a more of a mean kind of way, but I was mad. So I'm just being honest. I don't want to say it, but
that's
I
how
can
you
say
fought
it.
back, by telling him to go back to his wife. And did he?
Yeah, he did.
And he didn't come back to you.
He hasn't.
He hasn't. How does that make
Nope.
you feel? Right? I mean, be 100
it makes me feel a lot of ways.
I know. I can tell. I can probably tell you half of them because I can read you.
Well, you know what? It's like people tell you to do this, do that, go to school, do this, do that. I did all that shit.
Yeah. And it doesn't seem like that's enough.
They want certain women. That's what I'm saying.
What do you think your purpose is,
Purpell?
Like. What do you think your purpose is in this life? Or do you know?
I mean, I do know it has to do with film, and I mean, it has to do with this crap that I went through, or else that is in vain. I mean, so I mean, my sister that passed away in the midst of all this, like when I'm not going into that, but I got to put it in a book.
It still
I'm
bothers
sorry.
you, sweetie. It still bothers you. This show is definitely taking a different turn. And I said, I go wherever the spirit goes. And right now, he's leading me down this path with you. Because you know what? This show is bigger than me. It's not about me. I don't care about the plans I may have started this night with. But if it has to go this way to help you, then that's what we'll do. So I want you to be 100 with me, because we had a good conversation before the broadcast and I felt connected to you. But I will be honest with you. I felt a need to pray for you too when we were in behind the scenes. And now I know why. Because you know what? I love you enough. This is my first time seeing you. We've been talking on back and forth on computer all week. But there was something about you that was different. And now I see what God was saying. So I want you to be 100 with me, because I want tonight on the Ella Johnson show that this is the night your healing begins. Can you forgive the man that was with you for 7 years, that lied to you, that now has another life, a better life probably with someone?
Oh, now you're going to make me cry.
This is how healing begins, guys. Cry it out, baby. This is how it begins. We have to find a way to deal with the stuff that hurts us. It's like if I go to the hospital right now and I tell them that my head is hurt when I know it's really my stomach, I can't heal because I'm
Yep.
trying to fix the wrong problem. And tonight on the show, I want you guys to see this is what happens when we confront the real problem. We have to confront the real problem. And I understand why she had to go. Um, wasn't expecting that. But I know when I hear God's voice. This was not about violence for her. She needs to heal. And we're going to definitely stay in touch with her. We're going to definitely stay in touch with her. Definitely stay in touch with her. She's my sister now. What are you feeling, Sheila?
I'm feeling really bad for her right now because that kind of cry is the kind of cry I've done before. And I hate for her to do it alone. She's not alone, but I hate for her to do it alone.
But you know what? I love her because she was okay to be vulnerable like that,
Yeah.
putting herself
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah,
You know, and now I know she's gonna
Yeah.
start to be all right now.
Yeah.
I feel it. That's where it begins.
That's that kind of cry. That's a deep hurt out of your heart cry. And Lord knows I've had them. I mean,
Girl,
but
what? I'm probably
True.
gonna have a good cry by the time I get off of here too, because
wow.
these shows this week, let me tell you, they have truly touched me in so many ways. Right now, I just want everyone who, if you are a believer, I just want you to pray for Purpell. Pray for her.
Yeah.
Pray for her. Pray for her. Don't judge. Pray for her. We are a
Absolutely.
family. We are a family and we are here for one another. This is not about me. Let me tell you, I am available to you, God. Use me whatever way you have to. And this just so happens to be one of those platforms. It looks like she's back up. So we want to
Okay.
bring her back. Hi, baby girl. How are you? You're back.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
I'm okay.
You know what? I wish I could give you a big old hug right now.
Me too.
I mean, one that just like, girl, give me a hug. That's all right. I absolutely love you. I am proud of you. I relate to you. I've shared those same tears that you have right now. And if people are real, they have too, honey.
Yeah.
We've all made some bad decisions about a man somewhere in our life, but he does not define you, honey. You're bigger than that, all of that. God has a purpose for you. And that goes for anybody watching this broadcast. If you have a pulse, you have a purpose. If you are not dead, it means you are not done. And you're not dead, are you, Purpell? No?
No.
Are you dead,
No.
Sheila?
Nope.
You might have wanted to be, and you might have come close, but you
Yeah.
are here,
Yeah.
living your purpose, Purpell. Now talk to me. Talk to me about those tears. Where does that come from?
Because I remember when he told me that. I remember when the entertainer told me that he had the girl with the daughter. And I always want to go, down the rabbit hole. And I wish I wasn't that way. And I was like, well, maybe, it can work because I don't want kids. And he already has that with his wife. And so I just decided to deal with it because I don't want no guy trying to pressure me into having kids or getting married and all that. And a married guy is not going to do that. But this guy took me through some shit 2020. It made me think that anyway, I I don't want to think evil of him. I do want to forgive him. I mean, I forgive him, but it's
Let's do it.
just
Let's do it together. We're sisters now. Let's do it together. Pretend I'm
and
holding your hand.
the entertainer. It's like I think that has to do with because he reminds me of my dad so much.
Yeah.
I can't
It's hard. I know.
I can't. I really love him.
I know.
I can't. But
Do you believe that God has something better for you?
I don't know. That's the honest truth. I'm
Well, I can speak on
35.
his behalf and tell you that he does.
I know God, but I don't know about that.
Of course. Of course.
So
Because you're hurting right now. That's understandable. Are you ready to forgive him? Let's do it together. I'll help you. She'll help you. We're sisters. We're with you tonight. Let me virtually hold your hand and let's do it together. You don't have to do this alone. Please don't make me cry because all my lashes gonna come off, boo. I don't want to cry.
I hate
You don't want me to
you.
sit here and look bald headed, do you?
No.
So let's
Okay.
do this together. Let's do it together. Hold my
Okay.
hand.
Give me 5 seconds.
5 seconds. Get yourself together. We're gonna do it.
I gotta hold my head back like Oprah, my Aquarius sister. I'm trying, man. God, I did not want to cry
You know
at this
what? You
light.
gave me a totally different show tonight. I
No.
knew I knew why the devil was acting up now. Now
Well,
I
because
see.
it's too much stuff. Like
No, no,
let
no.
me
This is
no. Let me tell you this last thing about that guy. They have the same name, but I'm not gonna say it. The married guy and the guy in DC. We went to the court after however many times they tried to get him to come to court and he didn't show up. I had to call off of work, tell him I'm going to court, and he didn't show up however many times. And he finally showed up with a smirk on his face. I recorded it. I have it on my recorder. And then the judge was white. No offense to anybody that is, but I'm just saying, I don't understand why he smiled and laughed when he got the paper up there, the judge. And then I got the paper later on and figured out why he laughed. It was October 31st, that date, the court date. He signed his name and put a pumpkin next to his signature with a smile. Like, really? And the judge is up there laughing, like, oh, I forgot it was Halloween.
yeah. I mean, some of the stuff seems low. And what the enemy does is make you see it clearer when he wants to take you out. You realize that if the enemy is after you, there's a reason. Nobody
Yeah.
comes, nobody, if you are, listen, let me tell you something. The enemy doesn't bother people he already has, boo. If he got you, he has no reason to bother you. So if he's after you, there's something he wants. Don't let him get it. Empower yourself with the truth. Look deep inside and pull and fight with everything you got now. He is after you, and you are not going to die on my watch. You are going to live. Okay? Now, Janet is there. She wants to hold your hand. I'm holding your hand. And Sheila, we're going to do this tonight. You're going to let it go, and you're going to leave it right here on this show. And you're going to walk into tomorrow with a totally different outlook. Okay? Are you ready? Let's do it. I'm virtually
ready.
holding your hand. Are you ready to forgive this man?
I guess I should just forgive them all, I guess.
That's a yes or no. Are you ready
Yes.
to forgive this man? What are you
Yes.
forgiving them for? Say it out loud.
I am forgiving these men for betrayal of my trust and my breaking my heart to the core. My trust to the core, because I do not trust easily. I do not love easily, and I love very hard. So this is why, however many years later, if you add the years up, 14 years, because each, but I don't want to do all that, but yeah.
Continue. What are you forgiving them for? Say it out loud.
I'm forgiving the one for the verbal abuse. Well, all of them for the verbal abuse, the physical abuse, the talking behind my back, smearing my name, which I know one has done. The others, who knows? But God has my back. and I
I
forgive
want you to
them
leave it
for
all right here, baby. Leave it all right
keeping
here.
the truth from me for so long, because I would have made,
Different
knowing
decisions.
myself back then, if I
Yeah.
would have known that he was married, if I would have known that he had a girlfriend of 20 years and a kid that he wasn't leaving, I would have never ever been with you, ever.
Do me a favor, Purpell. This is going to help you. This may be hard, but I want you to look in the camera and I want you to pretend I am that married man. And I want you to say to me whatever you have to say. I don't care what it is. It's not going to take me, it's not going to hurt me because I know you're not talking to me. And I want you to let it go. Now say whatever you got to say and say it right now to me. Tell me what you would say if he were looking in that camera right now. Talk to me.
Well, it's amazing that it only took me telling you to go home to your ugly ass wife for you to leave me alone, when I don't even understand why you even dealt with me. You know what I'm saying? And you met me on the set. You met me on the set. We have the same passion. Film. You knew what I was freaking going for. You know what my freaking passion is, yet you didn't tell me the truth. You wanted me to suffer, and you have your cake and eat it too. Your cake and your triple layer cake, because I am a phenomenal woman. I went to school. I did everything they told me to do. You freaking oh my God, I can't believe it. I am a God. I am a woman of God. I am a daughter of a pastor, and you broke my trust, and you made me go through all that anguish, and I'm still dealing with it. And I hate you, but I forgive you. I forgive you because I'm a child of God, and because God is using me. Only God on my side is allowing me to forgive you today. And I hope that you remember this day, you and your wife, because I am a child of God. I take that back. Your ugly ass wife, I take that back, because I've seen her. I know everything. I just didn't say anything because of the woman that I am. I could have done so much more. And that entertainer, I could have done so much more. I told her 2 Christmases, I told her. She's still with you. She is set on dealing with the abuse. I know you have brainwashed her too. And she is set on dealing with the abuse. My hands are up. I'm not dealing with it anymore. I wish you the best. I wish all of you the best that have abused me and tried to take me out. But even as Passion of the Christ, which I got the chance to watch in 2020, they bruised him. Oh, God. They pierced him in the side. And nobody would help him except for that last man. I forgot his name, but he helped him take that cross. He was bleeding. He was pierced. I was wondering why, after I already dealt with this dude, why am I dealing with this dude now? Like, why do I have to deal with this? I already dealt with this. Why? And then even it's like I would tell women too, do not tell men what you've been through until you know them for a while, because they will listen and think that they can do the same thing to you. But you can't do that no more.
Yes. Yes.
I held that shit in for so long.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Because on top of that, my sister was dying, and I'm dealing with this shit. And she died. Okay, I'm done.
show like this. That's for sure.
Okay, I'm done.
I want you guys to do me a favor and pray for Purpell. She's hurting. And most people, when they hurt like this, they do it in secret. No one ever knows. I'm glad she's doing it here because she's making it okay. Because if you have to have a cry, have a cry. You got to punch the pillow, punch the pillow. Let it, whatever you do, get it out. Get it out because it just makes everything around you toxic. Your relationships, your friendships, everything. So get it out. And I'm so proud of her because she released that anger and that hurt right here tonight for everybody to see. And I am so proud of you.
That's a warrior right there. That is a warrior.
That's a strong woman right there, girl. And look at her. She's still looking fierce through the whole time. Still got that hat on.
Yeah.
I don't care how much you were crying, baby. You held on to that hat.
That's right.
Didn't she? Yes. She was a warrior princess.
I felt
queen.
a little lighter, at least.
See?
Thank you.
That's what I'm
Yes.
talking about.
Because
But
that
that's
was
what
there.
we're here for. Each other, sweetie. You don't have to do it by yourself. You don't. We sisters now, girl. I'm coming. Wait.
You did. Oh, I done seen you
As
cry.
soon as I get my COVID pass, I'm coming. We're going to sit on that couch and we're going to talk about this movie that we're going to make. And we're going to both be filthy rich behind it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to put that pain and give it a purpose.
Yep.
Because
Oh my
it's
God!
already
It
powerful,
really just
baby.
it just became real.
That's
The
became
little-
real. So I want you guys to put encouraging words in the comments right now for Propel so she can look at them later. But I am so proud of you. This show took a totally different turn. It really did. I can tell you I was not expecting that. And when I noticed, do you know what I noticed? When you never wanted to talk about the abuse, God whispered in my ear, go down the path she's leading you. So I stopped talking about it because that's not what you wanted to talk about. You wanted to talk about this hurt. And you know what? Like I said, this is just a platform to help people. And tonight, that's the kind of help you needed. And that's what we gave you. And that's what Sheila, bless your heart. You're just sitting there. She's just like, oh my God. Girl, if you had kept going any longer, these lights, because you know they ain't down that good. You know the glue ain't that good. Okay? You know the glue isn't that good. And you trying to mess me up. Have these lashes. But
No.
listen, let me tell you, I'm that kind of sister. I'll sit here and hold them the whole time while I'm talking. I was hearing it feel like that, baby. I'll make it look fashionable. I'll do something like this. Like this is the new salute from the Ella Johnson show. But I'm really trying to hold them lashes on, baby. I like to see you smile. I like to see you laugh. You know? And this is what I want you to mark the rest of your life with. Forgiveness. Because there's no way any of us can heal until we do that. There's no secret formula. You can talk to counselors till you're green in the face. All they're gonna do is take your $100 an hour money. That's all
they
do.
will.
What
they will.
Because they don't really care whether you heal or not. They
No, they don't.
Money. Yeah. So anytime you need to get that out, you know, let's you call me. We're sisters. I don't care what time. See me, I'm up all the time. I'm not married. And you know who
I noticed. I noticed.
Huh?
I noticed. I noticed you're up all the time because I'm up too.
Yeah, and you know what sleeps in my bed? My computer, my phone, my papers, my manuscript. That and I just push it out of the way and go to bed. There's no man in that bed. Let me tell you, just work. So, but you know what? I'm living in purpose right now.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you go in purpose, sometimes you got to go alone. So I don't want you to feel like the world has left you. Sometimes God wants you alone so he could get you to himself. You needed this word tonight. This is not about me, honey. He just worked through this show to get to you. Now I see why Carolyn's computer wasn't right, because we needed to get to you. This was all about you tonight.
Yep.
So I just want you to know that he loves
Lord.
you. He loves you that much, boo. So just embrace it. Just
And then
go
go get Sheila E on here, like Princess here too. Come on, God.
Well, her
You know.
story, I mean, her
story is amazing.
Her story was definitely amazing. You ladies are powerful. And you know what? You just made it 10 times better because now people got to see your vulnerability. They got to see you. I mean, you know what? I'm overwhelmed with love for you right now and admiration because you know what? You could have gotten off this broadcast and just did this alone by yourself, thinking nobody cares. And you got to lose that whole thing that because you went to Howard University, that you're not human. You are human. I don't care if I got 10 degrees. When I need to break down and cry, I'm going to do it. I don't care who's watching. That's real. Because half of them want to cry too. Because half of them know that their man is cheating on them. You know what I'm saying? We all have issues, is my point. So we got to learn how, instead of talking about one another, let's work together and help each other out. This is a sisterhood and a brotherhood that we gotta bring it back, because back in the day, people cared about one another for real. But now we got money and everybody's tripping. You know? See, I don't trip over money. That's why I don't have a problem. I'll give it away. Listen, I went somewhere one day and I had so much money on my card and I was doing some things for people. I said, baby, well, swipe it till it won't work. What do you need? Well, swipe it till it says decline. When it says decline, then we know it's time to go get in the car. Right? Because I don't care about things. Because one thing about God is that he says, when you do for the least of them, you do it for me.
You are doing it for me. Oh, yes. She knows the word.
But the problem is that the least of them are the ones we do the least for. And that's what has to change.
Right.
That has to change. You got purpose, mama. Don't take your energies nowhere else. Don't let the enemy take your joy.
Let me let you know the ending of that story. Do I have time?
Yes, because we have like maybe 5 minutes and we got to get out.
Okay. So in DC, the week after that, I got the civil protection order. Then I was like, okay, God, am I supposed to really still be here or not? DC, I'm talking about. And then I asked for a sign. Then the next day, the fire happened. So somebody back in DC, in Seattle, was like, you should have asked God for a subtle sign. So then I ended up moving back to Seattle. And exactly, that's what I'm saying. I feel like
give you something that you couldn't fix.
Exactly. And so that situation plus the entertainer, and he was out of town, and I had, I just didn't even tell him. Because if I told him, I probably would have tried to figure out a way to stay. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't say nothing. I just got on the plane. My sister, who's here in Seattle, and her sister got me the ticket because I was in shock. I stayed with her, stayed with some people, blah, blah, blah. But then I ended up homeless. But that was even like, and then he blessed me with this place. Like, it's, man, I can't thank him enough. But I would rather not have gone through the homeless stuff in the shelter. But
of course,
it's like I think there was purpose there too. It's like, I'm way more grateful.
I'm certain everything. Because listen, let me tell you something. All things work together for good for those who are called according to his purpose. So when you go through things good and bad, don't be sad about it, because it's all working out for your good. And you can't be so focused on the people that are coming along the way. Because I noticed when you were talking, you kept going back to everybody else. It's about you. It's about you. All things work together for good. What men mean for evil, God means for your good. Look at what happened to Joseph in the Bible. Joseph was thrown he was thrown in the hole. His brothers, his own flesh and blood. But he went from the pit to the palace. But there was purpose all along the way. Sometimes God uses a pit to hide you from your enemies. Remember that. All right? And don't knock enemies, because they'll get you blessed too. All right.
This is Dr. Ella Johnson on the mic.
No. God is you. God is in the midst. God is in the midst. Now I see what I was feeling when we were in the back room. But Sheila, I want to give you something, give you last words before we get out of here. What about tonight, huh?
I'm telling you what you had. Notice you had that face now. What you did. That's just straight courage. Yes. You showed what you're truly made of. Just courage. I mean, true courage. So, I mean, wow, that's all I have to say about that. Just wow. Wow, straight courage. Everybody,
a little bit embarrassed, but I
No,
mean,
you have no reason to be embarrassed,
wow,
honey.
don't be embarrassed. I mean, you
No,
showed
no, no,
everybody
no.
what real
Because
courage
there's
is.
definitely no judgment here.
No,
I like
straight
this, Carolyn.
courage.
God will never leave us. He wants us to have faith in him and trust him. That's
I mean,
right.
you showed everybody what real courage and strength is. That's what you should. Nothing to be embarrassed about. I'm impressed. I mean, I haven't
I
seen
am
that much
too.
courage and strength in somebody in a long time. So, thank you for that.
Amen.
Yes.
Anything you want to say before we get out of here, sweetie? We're definitely getting ready to end our show and send everybody to the house. Yeah, you.
Oh, I feel like I've said enough. But you can check out the current episode of Purple Reels is watching Jamil X Player.
All right, sounds good. Well, listen, guys, like I said, the show went totally different, but listen, that is what the Ella Johnson show is about. When God speaks, I listen. And he said, go down the path she's going because there's a healing there. She took care of it, and we're leaving it right here on the Ella Johnson show. But tune in tomorrow night. We have more guests, and then all of our guests this week are going to come back. And don't forget, Gene Mason is going to be here tomorrow night with a special tribute for this week. He's going to bring his jazz artistry to the Ella Johnson show. You don't want to miss that. But we're going to have more new guests tomorrow, but we're going to have old guests returning, and then we're going to have all the guests from this week coming back, those who want to. You guys are definitely welcome to come back. But I'm going to end the show, but I want you guys to stay right there so we can keep talking, okay?
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Purple, you okay, because you were just smiling. I was like, is she frozen? Girl, I've never seen anybody smiling.
That's my Hollywood face.
That's your Hollywood face? Okay, I thought, okay. All right, guys. Well, good night. And we will see you again right here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Ella Johnson Show. Two stories of domestic violence right here. We'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show.